I have a problem. I can't keep isopods alive. And that's a problem because I need them to help me keep my terrariums clean. I like to use them in my gecko's terrarium and I plan on using them in the frog tank that I'm building. Now both of these guys like to snack on the isopods given a chance. And that's why I decided to try and maintain an isopod colony. The thing is, I tried and I failed. Oh man, this is all dried out. Now as you can tell, they're pretty far out of sight and therefore, I hate to admit it, but also kind of out of mind. The obvious solution here is to make something that looks nice, so I won't mind having it around and won't forget to take care of it. So I went down to the woods looking for inspiration. I love walking through the woods and it didn't take long to find something I could work with. These fallen trees show that even in the face of death, nature finds a way to thrive. And from this fallen log, a new mini ecosystem can emerge. By peeling away some bark, you can find various little critters, including the isopod. And so, the idea was born. I went back home and began constructing a custom tank. I have a lot of scrap pieces of glass laying around that I'd like to start using. Now you've seen me make custom tanks before and it's pretty straightforward. Once cut the size, I siliconed everything together. The next day I came back to address ventilation. I left an open strip along the top that I'll cover from the inside with some window screen. Once taped in place, I covered the edges with some silicone and left it to cure. Next, I began working on the background. For this I wanted to use a scrap piece of towel I had laying around. I smashed it up into smaller pieces, shuffled them around and began adding them to the tank. I want to create a rocky wall with moss growing through all of the cracks. Once I found something I liked, I attached all the pieces to the back with more silicone. We're almost ready to start scaping the tank. I just need to install the glass tracks. And this right here is my first time using glass tracks on a build. Now, the glass down here is in front of the side pieces, where it should actually be inside the side pieces. And I even made sure that the glass up here sticks out just as much as the bottom panel. So it's nice and level, but it's wrong. It should actually be inside the side panel, so that's a little mistake on my end. But I came up with a solution that I think looks pretty good. I used a few pieces of scrap PVC board. I measured a few things, I glued them together, I carved them down and I attached them to the tank itself. And now we have a nice black border around the whole thing. This wasn't how I planned everything out, but I think it might even look better than if I did everything correctly. So that's pretty nice. And after all of that, we're now left with a really good looking custom made tank that will hopefully perfectly hold our piece of cork. Now up to this point, excluding a few details, pretty much the entire tank has been made using scrap materials. And I like to keep that theme going, so I'm gonna use some scrap pieces of EVA foam to support this tank at the bottom. Next, I began adding some gravel to act as our false bottom. On top of that will be our substrate barrier. And on top of that will be the substrate. Next, I added damp sphagnum moss between all the cracks in the stones. I'll be adding moss here in a second, but first I want to start building up the landscape. Now it's time to start adding some moss to this. And of course we should also add a fern. And you know what? Why not also add some Photonia? Leaf litter is also a must in a build like this. Adding some small pine cones and acorns also helped build the forest aesthetic. I loved adding these details so much that I almost forgot to add moss to the background. Now I think that's looking pretty awesome, so let's add the doors and move it over to the stand. And there you have it, my Fallen Log Terrarium. Now I think this thing looks pretty cool, but I want to know what you guys think. Let me know down in the comments. And while you're down there, let me know what you think of the green screen effects I used throughout this video. I'm personally really happy with it, but again, I want to know what you guys think. Now, if you're done commenting and hungry for more content, I recommend you watch this video next. As always, I'll see you there.